Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. The $1 trillion platinum coin could be minted within hours if needed, and it would look just like this. Let's explore! For those of you who have been following my channel, you know that I've talked about this subject of the $1 trillion platinum coin since it was first brought up in the news and floated as an idea back in 2013. And it has started to pique interest again and made its way across the news cycles. And this is the latest story about this particular activity that seems kind of ridiculous. And it is ridiculous, but it is a possibility based off of a loophole of a law that came out some years ago, and that gives the Treasury Secretary leeway to be able to mint a platinum coin of any denomination that he or she desires. And so therefore, it has been floated as an idea to pay for coronavirus funding and the like, and now to tackle this debt ceiling problem now that awaits us. Now, you've heard me talk about the debt ceiling before, and I'm not necessarily going to get into the weeds on that as to why that this has become an issue. It is a partisan problem. Each side is blaming each other. And as for me, I think it's a bipartisan issue and a problem in the beginning because of all the government spending that both Republicans and Democrats have done. And so they've made their bed and they're going to lie in it in a blanket of one platinum coin here, which, by the way, could be 1 ounce and likely it would be 1 ounce because they don't make fractional platinum coins anymore. So essentially it would be a 1 ounce platinum coin with not $100, but a $1 trillion denomination. And so we're going to look at this. Members of this community have shared with me several stories about this that has broken today. In fact, the news is breaking literally as I record this video. Apparently there is a deal that is being struck with Mitch McConnell to give some agreement with the Democrats to raise the debt ceiling temporarily. But I don't know exactly the details of that, and apparently it's just a stopgap measure or a temporary measure until they can really get this underway. But nonetheless, without getting into the weeds about the debt ceiling, we'll talk about the coin and what's happening here. But the U.S. Mint can make a $1 trillion coin literally within hours of an emergency decision, if need be. And that is something that Secretary Janet Yellen would do to avert a default on America's debts. And I want to say, before I continue, is that the $1 trillion amount is what has been bantered about. But in reality, as I said in the last video about this, and I'll link to that video in the description of this video, but I've been talking about this since about 2013. She could put any denomination on it. Why stop at 1 trillion? Why not tackle the whole debt and round it up to 30 trillion? Why even stop there? You know, especially if you use the original plaster molds. This already says 100 on it. You can just put the word trillion over there right above or right below and say $100 trillion. There you go. And then that would take care of it all, and you could hand out money as gifts to everybody, and we could all become little millionaires maybe, or something to that effect, if she were to do that. But I digress. Philip Deal, the director of the U.S. Mint from 1994 to 2000, told Axios that the agency had no shortage of platinum coin blanks, that's for sure. There's a lot of them out there, especially for $100 trillion or for $1 trillion coins. And this is what one of those blanks would look like. That's the metal required to make such a coin, according to the law that the entire idea is based upon. And you've heard me reference that law and talk about it in prior videos. This could be quickly executed on the existing plaster mold of the Platinum Eagle. And this is that Platinum Eagle that you're looking at right here. This side, this is what the $1 trillion platinum coin would look like. Only the denomination of the coin would need to be changed. So quite simply, you could take the 2 zeros out and put the word trillion on there. And because it would have to be the word, because I don't know if you could effectively put enough zeros on here unless you affected the design dramatically. So they'd have to use the word trillion. Nonetheless, that was all that would need to be changed. So it can happen very, very quickly. After that, the $1 trillion coin could be created within minutes at the West Point, New York Mint and flown to the New York Fed for physical deposit via helicopter. And you want to talk about a very light load for a lot of money. Platinum is the densest of the precious metals that are tracked in the markets. It's a very dense metal. It is a beautiful metal, but nonetheless, it would be a 1 ounce coin. That's it, 1 ounce. And especially based off of the story and what Philip Deal is saying here. And that will be flown via helicopter to the New York Fed. And crazy to think about it. The swiftness of creating a $1 trillion coin could serve as an extreme last-minute option if Congress failed to raise the debt ceiling before the Treasury runs out of money on October the 18th. And again, as I mentioned in breaking news, we may be able to avert it, at least for now. That is a possibility, but it's fascinating to think that they are considering it here, or it's becoming a story, even more of a story now, as Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen urges Congress to raise the debt ceiling to avoid an economic catastrophe. She's also knocking down the idea of the $1 trillion coin, and apparently so is Mitch McConnell if he's caving on this, which would not surprise me if he did. He's done that, caved before on other issues. But in an interview with CNBC on Tuesday, Janet Yellen said of the coin, "I'm opposed to it, and I don't believe we should consider it seriously. It's really a gimmick, and what's necessary is for Congress to show the world can count on America paying its debts." So she's opposed to it, but she's not ruling it out as a possibility. In fact, I feel if it came to that, she would probably, agree to have it done or order it done. We shall see. A vote is scheduled for Wednesday to suspend the debt limit through the end of the year, but opposition from Senate Republicans gives the measure little chance of passing. There would likely be many drawbacks from the materialization of a $1 trillion coin. Yes, that's the understatement of the century, for sure, when you think about it. But when you think about it, some representatives like Tajib has actually made a proposed legislation to get it done. So you think about that, it gives it a little bit more of a serious factor to it. There would likely be many drawbacks from it. It could undercut faith in America's monetary system, and again, another understatement, and drag the Federal Reserve into high-stakes political battle, Jason Furman, a former Obama administration economist, told Insider last month. And by the way, it was an Obama administration official who first floated the idea out there. But the coin gimmick would effectively give the Treasury Department the funds needed to pay its debts and avoid an almost guaranteed economic recession in the scenario that Congress failed to act and raise the debt ceiling in time. Voila! We'd have bought ourselves the equivalent of $1 trillion increase in the debt limit without any impact on inflation, Deal said. Yes, indeed. Wow, that is something else to think about. And my guess is it would be a very temporary measure until Congress votes on it. That coin would reside in the New York Fed for a temporary amount of time, and then it would be melted down once Congress passed it. So that is quite an interesting aspect to think about here with the coin and with platinum, and how platinum could serve to essentially save us from a default. But even as a temporary measure, I think would be foolish. But I think The government spending is foolish. And this whole infrastructure package and the fact that, they want to tie this 3.5 trillion to another 1 point some odd trillion, essentially that leads to a $5 trillion package that they're wanting to implement here. But very fascinating indeed, how the law is and how platinum could literally be worth $100 trillion if they ever wanted it, if she ever decided, well, you know what, let's just do this, let's just pay off all of our debts, let's just reset everything, and we're going to do it and cancel it all out with a $100 trillion coin, or even if they did it for a $1 trillion coin, to get us through this supposed issue that the politicians have fear-mongered us into. Fascinating story indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. $1 trillion platinum coin. It is something else. And it would look just like this. Wow. Can you imagine? If that were to, and I think it's highly unlikely that that's going to take place, by the way. That's my feeling on it. But let me know what your thoughts are on it. And I hope they take a picture of it if that does occur. I would love to see a photo of the coin if they were to actually implement it. But you want to talk about the statement that this article talks about it here, it would be many of these drawbacks undercut faith in America's monetary system. It would be the laughingstock of the world. That could actually hurt the dollar, I believe, pretty dramatically if they were to do this. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.